G'day and welcome to the Unfronters. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Mr. Sear and Algared. How you guys doing?
Doing good, thanks.
It's the weekend.
I hope so. Right, so today we're going to be talking about jump points. This is an episode I've wanted to do for a while, and this is like specifically like where we reckon the first jump point is going to take us in the PU. And if you logically think about this and kind of go through a list of places we've seen, the list becomes very small very, very quickly, and you can rapidly see potential of where we're going to go. And especially considering 6 of the places we're going to show you today, 5 of them are in a line. So if it's not even if it is one of these, I guess it's going to mean I think all of the 5 of these are going to come in pretty rapid succession because they are in a connected line, as you'll see today.
Yeah, although I do think probably the 5th one of those is
The
least
6th,
likely just
the
because
6th,
of the size.
the 6th.
Yes, but the 5th in the line.
Yeah, so we'll start with that one because that one's the odd one out. So I'm going to change this into a different view that we haven't used before here, and this is a browser view with the star map with us. So 2 birds, 1 stone type of analogy, but I'll be driving this star map today. So the first place we're going is Lear.
That's right.
Algared, do you want to tell us a little bit about Lear?
Yeah, so Lear 3, or Lear system, wonderful system as is. Bottom corner of a screen, it's between Banu and Vandal space.
Yeah. So this is the planet here, yeah, that we actually saw in the CitizenCon 2016
yeah,
demo.
so that was Lear 3.
Yeah.
And Lear 3, we know there's been work done on Lear 3. That was where the sandworm was. And so we know there's work done on Lear, but it's the oddball because it's so far removed from everywhere. It's numerous jump points from Stanton.
Yeah, it's miles away from Stanton. It's literally almost as far as you could get from Stanton, to be honest. I can't even see Stanton on my screen. There it is. It's just near here. There it is. So it's literally pretty much the other side of the galaxy. Yeah,
Did you actually
it's literally
Did you actually map the course that you go?
Like one of the farthest places.
Yeah, it's literally probably the furthest place you could get from Stanton. It's pretty damn far. Like, I'm looking at all the other far edges, and there's no... Oh, this was one of these ones, maybe. But yeah, it's pretty far. So, I think what I'll do is I'll chuck this into the 2D view, because it makes it a little bit straighter. And I think we'll... Just to show this whole theory of the line, I think we'll just go through the line of the other 5. And then... I've just realised they are not connected.
I told you that before.
Didn't notice that. Oh, interesting.
They're connected by medium and large. So if you go by medium jump points, they're
I don't have
medium and large. They are on a line.
I didn't have medium turned on. That's what it was. I was starting to freak out. I was like, but that was connected before. Anyway, so here are the 5 systems, in short. And then we'll go back and we'll talk a little bit about all of them. So the first one is the Odin system. Then we go to the Nyx system. Then we go to the Pyro system. Then we go to Stanton, which we all know at the moment. And then we go to Terra. So these are the 5 other systems that we've seen stuff of in the game. So I think if we kind of go one at a time, Stanton's the one that we don't really need to talk about. Everyone knows that. I think we'll start with Terra, Algared. Do you think that's a good place to start?
Yeah, I think that probably is a fair place to start, and I think it's probably the least likely of the 5.
I do too. What do you know about it, Sear? Tell us what you know about it, Sear, because you probably know the least.
What I'm looking at is I see the sun, I see the Goldilocks zone, which is thanks to you because I had a brain fart. It's the zone of which is the sweet spot where you would have a planet that would sustain life. And it looks like we got 2 planets.
We got 2 Earth-like planets, which is really weird. Which is why Terra is such a gold mine.
And Terra is also a super Earth, so
it's full of rich resources. I'm looking forward to it.
Man,
so while we're on the subject,
look how far out that jump point is.
I know, right? So why do you guys think that it will not be shown anytime soon? Since you said, I don't think it's going to be shown. So why?
Yeah.
You go, Algared.
It's a fair question to ask. I would love to see. Well, actually, I personally would hate to see Terra because I hate Terra. I think people in Terra are terrorists. But the reason I actually don't think we'll see Terra as a system linked to jump points in the near future is because Terra itself is such a big system. It is the super Earth. It is the Constantinople of the Roman Empire for Star Citizen. It is the replacement of Earth, and so because of all of it, because of it's so big and so central and such a big role in terms of the politics, and because the landing zone's so big, I don't see it as being one of the early or the next or the first place we'll go to.
Like the things that we saw that we know they've been working on us were actually the leak files that Disco Lando accidentally leaked through this server leak, and there was actually the full city of Terra had started to be grey boxed. So we know they've been working on this already, and I think it's going to be like, say Earth was to fall, this would be the new Earth. So this is
backup.
This is one of the biggest systems in the entire game. So it's absolutely massive, and it's the type of thing you wanted to leave to later on because you'll have to end up coming back to it if you don't have all your tools and processes and procedures in place. So,
a little bit of a side note. Speaking of leaks, that whole thing about Nyx, do you guys think it was a link, or do you just think it was a coincidence because Nyx has its own folder because theoretically Delamar's supposed to be a Nyx system?
yep.
Do you guys think it was a leak, or do you guys just think it was just a folder?
It doesn't matter if it's a leak though, because we've known they've like at one of the Citizen Cons they had them flying off. It's not new news. Like everyone's like, and I think all the people that have been going are just people that haven't seen, that haven't been around very long. Quite frankly. So you know, I'm not surprised at all. So yeah. So let's move on from Terra then, and let's go to Odin, because I think that's probably, obviously, potentially a choice as well.
Because we think it's a potential because...
Well, this is the Star
It's the system for Squadron 42.
Yeah, so we know
so you think they're already making... Yeah. It's a huge part.
Yeah, so though the game's probably at least a year's release away, so say they put jump points in at CitizenCon this year or sometimes early next year, I think it kind of rules it out as the very potential first one, unless it's being delayed. As in... Or
whether they just do a temporary link to the system and say, hey, we've got a jump point to the system.
Don't think they'll do that, because knowing how much they love surprises... They're not going to let you play in that system until you've done it.
And that was what I was just about to say. But the downside, and the reason I don't think this will be the system, is because if we get to play in the system, it's the same argument for not putting it in, the same argument for why we don't have the Idris yet. They want us to have that exploration feel when we're first in the system. If we can fly around the system and learn it back to front, where's the surprise in Squadron 42? So I actually think that one's off the cards.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that as well.
All right, so that's two systems that are blown.
All right, so the last two systems are what I think would be the two potential biggest ones, and they are Pyro and Nyx. So I'm going to start with Pyro because I think Pyro is right next to Stanton, or was it? Or I've lost it. No, there it is up there. Stanton. Oh, where is it? I've lost it. It is here. Trust me, it's here somewhere.
Dude, just Control F and type in Pyro.
There it is. It's right there. No, it's right there. No, I had Pyro. I'd lost Stanton. So there's Stanton. They're right next to each other. I've also just realised, I could be wrong here. Yeah, Terra is also connected to Stanton. That's interesting.
Yep.
Pyro, sorry.
Yep.
So you can actually, there's a loop there. Interesting.
But as we were saying before, I don't think Stanton, because it's so big, and we've seen how long it's taken to do Stanton and get all the planets of Stanton in.
Now, Pyro is...
And so I think that's another reason why Terra won't.
Well, the reason why it's taking Stanton so long is because if we're going off what they said, they're making the tools to procedurally generate things in the future. So theoretically, whenever they get all these tools done, which I'm hoping will be by the time they actually have Crusader in and they touched up everything, then I would hope to think it would maybe take half a year to get another system in, at least.
Yeah, well, we hope. But even
I would
with the
hope.
procedural stuff, they're still talking about the artist going in and modifying and changing things. That's just not.
Okay, that's fair. Then to be optimistic, I would think instead of it taking as long as it has been to put in all the systems, I would like to think it would take at least a year to get another system in, not fully fleshed out, but to where the backers will be able to go to that system and do stuff, and then they'll slowly tweak over time, and then the next
system. I don't think it'll take that long. I think once they have all the tools in place, they'll be able to move in and just do it really quickly.
I think for a system like Terra,
that could be correct too.
It will take a year, but
Terra, yeah.
As I think Execute's
you are correct.
Yeah, something like Nyx and Pyro are very small. So Nyx and Pyro share one thing in common: they only have 3 planets. They're both unclaimed systems.
So pirate systems.
Yeah, they're kind of like pirate systems, and I think that's another good mix to go with Stanton as a first potential jump point location. So then you've got your pirate system, and you've got your I'm the goody two-shoe system. So if you look at Pyro here, the only real evidence we have that Pyro exists is that they did an ATV that showed off them doing the fire effects for Pyro, because there's this huge big... you can actually see it in Stanton in the game at the moment. If you look up, there's a big, massive red fiery nebula in the sky. That's actually Pyro. But they've actually had that working for when you're actually in space as well. So we know that they've been working on the Pyro system to some effect.
Your GPU.
Yeah, so... That's why Pyro, I think Pyro, like being the very next system over and knowing what we know about Terra, it being the next one over, that's why it's one of the majors. But I think the number one choice, and I know it's not connected to Stanton, but there's nothing to say that they can't just have a, this is our first wormhole. Like why is Delimar in the Stanton system when it's really in the Nyx system? So the major landing zone for Nyx is already done because it's already in the Stanton system. So it's just a matter of moving it to Nyx and adding the other planets that are there. And if you go into Nyx and see what's here at the moment, there's not a lot in here. You've got...
There's like, what? How many things in the Goldilocks zone?
One.
As I said, there's 3
2?
planets. And they're not particularly exciting planets. So if you look at this one, it is a terrestrial rocky planet, so that's...
Looks like Mercury.
Or Delimar, the moon. Daimar, sorry, not Delimar. Daimar. I always get those two mixed up. It's terrible.
Me too.
Nyx 3 is a smog planet. Now, if you think back to when they did Nyx system at CitizenCon, they actually warp to this smog planet. They actually warp to it. So we already know that this is done in game as well. So you take...
Delimar.
Probably lines up with the fog effects that's coming out this year.
Yes, as well.
Delimar.
If you take Delimar and the smog planet into account, that's 2 of the planets already down, right? And the last one, believe it or not, if I remember this correctly, I've got to find it again. It is here somewhere. I'm blind.
Can you do like a top-down view?
I'm just going out. I know it's here. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Nyx 3. Now, this is an ice giant. Now, what are we seeing this year at Microtech?
Cold.
Cold, but also
an ice planet. So we already know then that they've basically got the art assets to make all 3 of these planets straight off the bat. So it's not a huge, jump.
And we have Lyria too.
Yeah.
Although,
the only interesting thing is the star. That's the only thing that we don't have something like that at the moment.
Is that supposed to be a white dwarf?
It's a main sequence dwarf F star.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but again, it's just changing the color and the size. So you can't visit stars at the moment. So that can't be really that hard to do. So
I used to be able to spawn in one.
Although
it was pretty weird.
Your comment about the ice giant having the ice environments already done.
Yeah.
Isn't an ice giant similar to a gas giant, but the atmosphere is all icy and other stuff, so you can't actually land on it because the gravity would crush you.
I don't actually know. I haven't looked that up. But yeah, possibly. And then you've got Delimar, the planetoid, which is actually in this giant asteroid ring that's on the outside. But we don't have to worry about that because we know it's already done.
I just screamed in Orion because of that asteroid belt.
Yeah, so I think this is the top pick, personally. Yes, people have been carrying on about it because... it was shown off on Inside, was it Star Citzen Live in the last couple of weeks? but I think it was even before that I thought that this was the top pick. Just because we know what art assets they're working on, what planets and moons they've already done. You look what's in this system and what they've already shown off. This is the most shown off of any of the systems by a country mile. And the only reason I kind of rule out Pyro is we know that they've made allowances for things that are complete, so there's no reason you have to jump to a planet that's on the map in that regard. You can just use code to say it's jumping to a different place. So no reason for that.
And if you look at the jump points as well, I think the first jump point, as you were saying earlier before we started streaming, the first jump point will be one which every ship can go to regardless.
Yeah, so instead of having these medium, small, and large, they'll just be a one-size jump point. So all the ships.
And at the moment, the jump point to Pyro would be a medium. So to have a temporary jump point to Nyx and having Delamar placed back in its actual proper place makes sense.
Yep, it really does. Oh man, this map is really hard to navigate sometimes. All right. Yeah, so I'm kind of calling that the line of 5 from Odin to Terra. I've just been calling it that for a couple of years now because it's 5 planets in line. And the only system, and I until we started talking about this show today, until Algared brought my attention, I'd totally forgotten about Leia. But it's also an unclaimed system. So, yeah, theoretically, you could take something like Leia, and it could jump straight from Stanton to Leia. But again, when you take into account of what is the most that we've seen of any other planet, or system, I should say, rather, Nyx still comes to the forefront more than any other. So I think we'll kind of leave it there, unless you guys got anything else you want to add.
No, that seems fair to me.
I mean, do we want to quickly cover what jump points are for people who are newer to the game and have no idea?
Yeah, we can do that if you want. Why not?
So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got 3 types. We got small, medium, large.
Mm-hmm.
Small ships can only go through small. Small, medium ships can go through, and you have your large, which all 3 can go through. Some systems, you only be able to have certain types of ships go through. So as far as we know, a wormhole and a jump point are similar, but instead
they are the same thing.
Yeah, except with the exception that a jump point is a jump point fixed, and a wormhole you have to keep discovering.
There are ones that have jump gates on them that are very stable wormholes, and then there are wormholes that will pop up for X amount of time.
Basically like Eve, yeah. You can go through a wormhole.
So there is in lore a system that doesn't have a jump point. And it had one, and people were going through to there in lore. Algared will probably know a bit more about this than me.
They were settling in the system, and then the jump point collapsed, and the system, while we still have it in our star map, we know about it, there's no known jump point to it, and they've been isolated for the last 200 or so years. So
you can tell
have they developed a superhuman? Have they been conquered by the Vandul? We don't know.
Yeah, and what's to say they haven't found another jump point out in another direction, and they've made friends with another race. There's so much awesome storage there that you could go into. So, yeah. But I like really quickly, I think jump points are very clearly, from a game design perspective, are going to be tied. You know, we're talking about the sizes of small, medium, and large. I think they're going to be tied to landing pad sizes. So you have small, medium, large, and then not connected to any land pad that's basically docking only. And I think you can safely say large and capital is going to be the same size. So you basically got small, medium, and then large and capital are bundled into the same bracket. And I think that's really obvious when you work it through, based on how all the ships are kind of categorized already. I don't see why it would be this random thing where it just randomly slots between certain ships. I have actually looked into that, though, quite thoroughly, but I just think it would make so much more sense if it's tied to landing pad size, because it's then just something that you know what size your ship is based on the landing pad it lands on. It makes so much more sense. There's none of this real weird classification stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at and it makes sense for the landing pad for the Connie and the Retaliator. They're the only 2 that share that landing pad. They're both a large ship as well, so I think there'll be 2 ships that get dumped into that
I have a really
size.
quick thing to ask Sia, actually. Sia, did you notice that they've moved the Vanguard up to the same size landing pad as the Constellation in the latest patch?
Yeah, they did that to adjust the fact that you are landing in a really tight area, so they give it a bigger landing area.
Yeah, but that
Like
also...
for
So does
Lorville,
that
for
mean-
example.
It's no longer
Does
a
that-
small ship, though. It's technically... It falls into the medium category now.
Well,
The Vanguard's
based
always
on-
been a medium-sized ship.
well, based on the Constellation, which was originally a medium ship and got nerfed up to a large ship.
So, yeah.
And
It got nerfed up to a large ship.
That's
Well,
right.
well, look, technically
Nerf.
going larger, but previously being a medium is a nerf, because then you can only go through large jump points. You can't go through the
And-
medium.
Okay, I see.
And it flies like a large ship, and it still has all the medium components.
Yes.
So it's a stealth nerf.
Fair enough.
We're getting off topic here, but that's some of the complicated stuff that's coming down the pipe based on some of the theory talks that we've been having. So we're going to have to go into that a bit deeper. But this has been jump points and where we're going to next, and I think we all kind of agree. Are we all in agreement? It's kind of Nick's here. Is that our kind of...
Yeah, logically it makes sense
Yeah, so...
from an asset standpoint.
Yes, from an asset standpoint.
Standpoint, not
Logical.
standpoint.
So do you guys, in the comments, do you guys agree with us? Do you think Nyx is the logical choice based on what we've shown you here today? Are there any other systems that we completely, utterly missed that they have shown off? Now, I went through heaps of stuff, and I can't find
Orion,
anything else.
Orion. We forgot about Orion.
No, we talked about it, man. Old man and
No, we didn't talk about Orion. Orion's the Vandal planet, but no, the Earth planet, but the Vandal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'm thinking of
The Operation Pitchfork people want Orion, so
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So yeah, in the comments, let us know whether you want to go to, if you agree with us on Nyx or one of the others we've listed, or a completely new one altogether. I'd like to know what you guys think, because this is highly speculatory, but I think it's really based in logic. It makes a lot of sense. We do read every comment. We try to reply to as many as possible. If you want to talk to us, we're on Discord as well. Like this video if you like this video. Dislike this video if you dislike this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. If I missed anything, boys?
Yes.
Yeah, join us on Discord.
if you liked our new visual aids that we provided, let us know. If you like them, we'll do more of it. If you didn't like it,
Make it more work
yeah,
for me.
sorry.
No.
Holding you accountable.
Right,
But if
okay.
you didn't like it, let us know, and hey, we'll do more of it, because I know it's better to get visual aids instead of just hearing us blab if you have no
Work me-
idea what we're talking
work
about.
me
So.
into the ground. That's what it's better to
Oh.
do. He's trying to kill me.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right.
If you want to work executing to the ground, also make sure to let us know too.
All right. He's been Sia. He's been Algared. I've been Execute. We'll catch you guys next time.
Take care, guys.